in the end of every episode, I always talk about a Bible story. And today I want to share my favorite one with you. It's about the Israelites when they left Egypt. Now, as you know, everyone knows, Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt after years and years and years of slavery. He led them into the wilderness. And it didn't take long for their food reserves to run out while they were out there. And once they did, they complained and they turned and they complained to God about the situation. But as always, God delivered. And he said to them, I'm going to give you all the bread you need in the morning and all the meat you need in the evening. So what he did was, in the morning, they would wake up and there would be dew on the ground. And it would turn into this flaky substance. And I've tried to picture it so many times because I am so fascinated with the story. It sounds like it was really flaky. So I like to think it's like that buttery part of like really good rolls when it's nice and crispy on the outside. I like to think it was that good. And it probably, God made it. You don't get a better chef than that. So they would go out there. But it came with some rules, and it was a specific test that he put in place. He said, do not take more than you need for the day. Only take what you need for that given day. Now, the reason being is pretty obvious. If they took more than they needed for one day, it was because they didn't trust him to have it there the next day. So he put that test in place. Now, most of the Israelites listened, but some did not. So what happened when they took it into their tents that night and hoarded it? They woke up the next morning. It smelled terrible, foul, sour, had maggots in it. It was unedible. Because they disobeyed God. Really upset Moses too. It doesn't explain how mad, it just says he was angry. So I assume he did some yelling. Now, in addition to that, at night he had quail cover the camp. Now, I've read every translation I can find. I don't know what cover the camp means. I've shot some limits of ducks in the mornings where they're all over you. I know they didn't have guns, so I'm curious what that meant. Did they come and just plop down, or did they make it easy to be caught? I'm not sure. But they had all the meat they needed and all the bread they needed. Now, here's the interesting point, and this was God and his almighty power thinking ahead. He said to the people, obviously, don't take any more than you need for the day, but on Saturdays, take double, because Sunday's the Sabbath. You will not find the manna. You will not find the quail, so take everything you need the day before, so it'll be there for you the next day, so you don't even have to leave camp. Now, some went out, because I swear they never listened, although none of us are perfect, and I like to think I would have been on the listening team, but not everybody is perfect. And what happened was they found nothing was out there the next morning. Now, here's what's interesting, though. He told them to keep it for the next day. There were no maggots. It didn't go sour. It didn't go bad. It was there perfect the next morning, even though they kept it overnight, because it followed God's word. Now, in developing the show, we mentioned it was over a 7-year period, and I'm very grateful that you saw us in our development stage just years ago and then reached out to me now. But I worked, you guys probably saw AJ walking around, he's my director, and Ryan, he's my producer. They are the most talented individuals in the industry. Lucky for me, I found them before anyone knew they were the most talented people in the industry, and that's why I was able to sneak them in on my team. But each and every one of us is an owner in the company, and each and every one of us wakes up every single day with this conservation mission that we talked about in line, that every episode we create is going to inspire the next generation to get in the outdoors. We live, sleep, breathe, and eat it. We wake up in the morning, ready to work, and there's no idle hands until the evening. It is this week alone, Ryan and I were at the office past 1:30 in the morning 3 times. AJ at least 2. And that is a very normal week for us because we grind and push through. And because of that, through all of this, when things look terrible and things look bad, God always gave us our daily bread. He always gave us what we needed to get by. And I truly believe there's a lot of kids here. And I didn't anticipate that because normally there isn't at these things. And I think it's awesome that they're here. But I will tell each and every one of you kids that if there is anything you want out of this life, if there is anything you want to do, don't let anyone tell you you can't do it. Because if you believe you can do it, you can. And if you ask God for guidance and you follow Him, He will give you your daily bread to get by until the time comes when you can finally succeed. And this one's for the adults in the room. I grew up in a very structured home, incredible parents, the best parents, I have to say. Church every Sunday, discipline, there was no talking back, there was no disrespect. My parents loved me. I never had to wonder if they loved me. I was very, very, very lucky. And you come time to be 18 years old and then you think you know everything. I came to myself and I said, why do I believe what I believe? Why do I believe in God? Well, it's because my parents told me it was real. My dad said, so it must be true. But you get to an age where you start to doubt, or you start to think, or you start to wonder. And I will tell you this, and kids, I hope you take this message too and remember it. Let it stick in your head. Is that there's a passage in the Bible that talks about if you are wondering if God is real, and you come to him in prayer, and you say, God, I'm not testing you, but instead I am asking you to reveal yourself to me. I'm asking you to show yourself to me so that I can know you better. I've done that on 5 occasions in my life, starting when I was 18 and at different hard points in my life. And what I promise you here today, that if you do that with all love and truth in your heart, God will reveal himself to you the same way he did for me, and it will change your life forever, and that's where you find the belief. Don't believe because your parents said. Go to God directly and ask, and I promise you, he will be there for you. Thank you guys so much.